Today we're doing section 1.4 and 1.5 combined. These are two relatively easy sections that I felt I could morph into one. So over here we're going to discuss two formulas that you need to recall. So the first formula is the formula we use to find the slope, and that's when you have two coordinates. We do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You could also just find the change in y over the change of x. So another way to do this is finding how much your y values change over how much your x values change. So that's also another way to do this. The second formula you need to recall is point slope form, and that looks like this: y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. So we're going to be using both of these formulas today. So for your first example, you're given two coordinates. So in order to use the point slope form, I need to obtain a slope. So when I look at this, my change in y is going down by 8. So my y's are going down by 8. My change in x's are going up by 6. So I can determine that my slope is a negative 4 over 3. Then, once I have my slope, I just need to pick one of the points to use. So I'm going to use the first point given. So I'm going to use that formula y minus y1. So it'll be y minus 6 equals negative 4/3 times the quantity of x minus negative 3. So on that right-hand side, we could fix the fact that it's a double negative. So that'll change it to be x plus 3. And then we're going to distribute this negative 4/3 in. So I have y minus 6 equals negative 4/3 x. This is like a 3 over 1. When I multiply the numerator, we get minus 12 over 3, which I know will become a negative 4. So to get x by itself, I'm going to add this 4 over from both sides. I'm hoping you guys understand that. So I'll get y minus 2 equals negative 4/3 x. I actually don't know why I did that. I should not have done that. Instead, we're going to add the 2 back over because our objective is always to get y by itself. So I have y equals negative 4/3 x plus 2. Please forgive me for that mistake. Alright, so that's how we write an equation of the line. So now let's do some practice on average rate of change when it's not linear. So here we have these two equations. So we're going to make a t-chart. The two x values they give you are 0 and 3. So all I need to do is plug in the y values. So when I plug in 0 to x squared, I still get 0. When I plug in 3 to x squared, I get 9. So my change in y's are going up by 9. My change in x's are going up by 3. So my change in y over change in x will be 9 over 3, which is equal to 3. Letter B is a little bit more involved. So notice the equation is 5x squared, and we now have a decimal. So let's set up our table. We're looking from 2 to 2.5. So when we do 2, I have 5 times 2 squared. So I have 5 times 4. So my output when I input 2 would be 20. So now let's go through and do the other one. So when I plug in 2.5, it might be easier to think of 2.5 as a fraction, and that's what I'm going to do because I don't have a calculator handy. So I have 5 times 5 over 2, the quantity squared. So 5 over 2 squared will become 25 over 4. I can put 5 over 1, and I multiply my numerator. So when I multiply that, I get 125 over 4. If I want to switch this back to a fraction, I know into a decimal. 4 goes into 12 evenly 3 times. 4 goes into 5 evenly 1 time, with 1 left over, which means it's a quarter of a remainder, so 31.25. So now we got to find our change in y over change in x. So my change in y would be 11.25. My change in x would be 0.5. And when you use a calculator to divide this out, you get 22.5 for your average rate of change. So last example we're going to go over, so that was that answer. Last example we're going to go over is writing an equation of the line when you're given a slope but not in the most traditional way. So notice you're given an equation of the line. We want to get the line in this form of y equals mx plus b so that we can identify our slope. So to do that, we'll subtract x and we're going to add 3 to both sides. So my equation is now going to say negative 2y equals negative x plus 3. And we're going to divide everything by negative 2. So when I do that, I get y equals 1/2 x minus 3/2. Now, traditionally, you wouldn't have to divide both of them separate. You could just make it one big fraction. But remember, our objective is to identify our m. So here is our m value. So now that I know m is equal to 1/2, I need to find the perpendicular slope. And perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. So my slope will change to be negative 2 over 1. Now that I have the slope of negative 2 over 1, I'm going to use my point and my slope. And I'm going to write the equation of the line. So I'll have y minus negative 7 equals negative 2 times x minus 4. We're going to distribute. I'm going to fix this left side. I'll have negative 2x plus 8. We'll subtract 7 from both sides. And the perpendicular equation will be negative 2x plus 1. Okay, so again, I hope today was a relatively easy lesson for you.